Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final Siren podcast. I'm Noah. Today I'm with Lachlan, Davos, Faraz, and David joins for the second episode. He was unable to make it to the first episode, but he's here today. We'll start off with the first game of round 9, Broncos versus Bunnies. First, we'll go down to Faraz. Faraz, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, what a massive upset by the Broncos with no Haas and Capewell, especially in Sydney. Much people didn't give the Broncos a chance. I've got to say, Reynolds turning on against his former side. He's like, why did you let me go? Why did you let me go? Carrigan on return was sensational. How good was Herbie Farnworth? Tony Staggs' defensively was so good. Corey Oates turning back the clock. I mean, what a win for the Broncos. They're now in the top 8. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and I do see them continuing that streak later on. But what a win, defensively and attacking-wise. And Reynolds would have loved scoring that meat try against his former side. So, well done to the Broncos. They deserved the win. They fought hard for it. I've got to say, they were good in all aspects, and they turned it on from the first minute. They looked on.
They definitely did. What about you, Davos? Your thoughts on that?
Very happy for the Broncos. They played a really good game. Especially, I was really impressed with their defense. They worked hard for each other, and they didn't allow South Sydney a little bit of a sniff. I thought, like Faraz said, I thought without Capewell and Haas that that just makes the win even more impressive. And I thought Reynolds and big props to the back five. They were outstanding. So congratulations to the Broncos.
Very true. The game was mainly played in the middle of the field, and the Broncos won that forward battle. With Haas being out, it was quite big of them to do that. What about you, Lachlan? Your thoughts?
I thought it was a good win. To win by 20 odd in Sydney is a good win, especially without their big front row of Payne Haas. But Reynolds turned back the clock against his former side and showed them what they lost. And I think Rabbitohs were just disappointed they didn't have the attack and the spark they normally do. And I think Cody Walker's lost the plot, but we'll move on from there.
Okay, and what about you, David?
Yeah, I really enjoy watching this one. The Broncos played pretty well, considering, as he's touched on before, the loss of Haas and Capewell. In terms of South Sydney, I'll touch on them a bit. They were just lackluster, throughout the match. They were in the match the first half. I thought Brisbane did have the upper hand, but South Sydney, they were definitely able to, press their line. But as I said, defense translates into attack, and Brisbane did show that. Defensively, they were very strong, had a lot of sets on their line. South Sydney were giving them a lot of pressure. So, overall, big win for the Broncos. I thought Adam Reynolds was brilliant against his old club. I've got him in my 3-2-1 for sure. But, other than that, I thought it was a pretty good game.
Very true. We'll touch on that 3-2-1 later. But moving on to the next game, the first game on Friday night was the Raiders versus the Bulldogs. A lot of us in here tipped the Bulldogs to win, except for Lockie. But we'll go to Lockie first. What were your thoughts on this match?
I just went the Raiders due to being at Canberra. If it was at a core stadium, I would go the Dogs. But as I thought the Dogs were in the fight the whole way. It's just their discipline just hurt them, and the errors. I think Matt Burton was brilliant for them in the 6 jumper. He controlled the team well. And for the Raiders, I just think that they're a team now. They're struggling, but they know how to get over the line at home, which that's why I went them, and I got the tip right. Very
true. Matt Burton, probably, you could argue it was his best game in the 6 jersey for the Bulldogs so far, even though it was a loss. And what about you, Davos? What did you think of that game?
I thought it was a very even contest, to be honest. I thought it was a real arm wrestle. Like Lachlan touched on, I think the Dogs were very undisciplined, and the errors, I'm pretty sure Dufty made, 2 or 3 errors, and Naden made about, 3. So that really hurt him. And I thought the Raiders forward pack, especially Tarpany running for over 200 meters, and Josh Papali, I'm pretty sure, getting very close to 200 meters. So that really set the platform for the Raiders to bounce off. And but credit to Matt Burton and Kyle Flanagan. I thought they were really good.
Yes, very much agreed. Matt Burton and Kyle Flanagan, I think they're finding their rhythm as a halves pairing. for the Dogs. And what about you, Faraz? What were your thoughts on this game?
That is a perfect example of a bottom four clash. I was not impressed by either side. I went the Bulldogs based on momentum. I don't think that I had enough trust in the Raiders. I thought the Bulldogs would probably win this by a comfortable margin, probably around 1-12. But look, the Raiders had to get the job done, simple as that, and they did, But considering the ball and possession they had, and 30 win by 10 against the Dogs as well, like that's pretty concerning for me. The Bulldogs, look, they weren't that impressive. You can't go from beating the Roosters to losing to the Raiders. It's been shocking. In a positive way for the Bulldogs, Burton had arguably his best game in the 5-8 role, and for them to still lose, it's concerning for me, as much as any other Doggies fan feel. But good win for the Raiders. It wasn't that convincing, but you got to do what you got to do to get the 2 points. And at the end of that, they've avoided the contention for the wooden spin, I think. But yeah, look, I can't really say much about the Raiders about how good they were, but one of the best games Frawley has played in a while, but they got to keep it up. I still don't see enough for me to say that the Raiders are back necessarily, but they did get the job done when most people thought the Bulldogs would actually get a win here. But that's all I have to say. Not really impressed by this game at all.
Yeah, very true. It was sort of the lowest of the low battle. I think Bulldogs and Raiders were both 14th and 15th before that game. What about you, David? Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, look, I went to this game. I thought it was a flip of the coin. I really couldn't tell who would win this one. The Bulldogs coming off a big win against the Roosters. The Raiders have been struggling a lot there, sitting around the bottom of the ladder also. With this one, I thought the inclusion of Jared Croker was, brought some experience for the Raiders. But, overall, I was very disappointed with the Bulldogs in attack. I thought defensively they were quite sound, but, attacking, they were just shocking. They really were. They did drop Ockenbaugh for Naden, and I really don't think Naden's first grade quality for them. I thought Matt Foley was great against his former club, though. He burned them in the middle, got a great try, and overall, I'm very worried for the Bulldogs. If I was a Bulldogs fan, I would be very worried. That's all I really got to say about the game, though.
Yeah, very true. Frawley, he had a great game. A lot of Raiders fans were speculating over him being picked in the team. Just a lot of NRL fans in general, but he did prove a lot of the haters wrong. But moving on to one of the better games this round, Panthers versus Eels, with the Eels handing Penrith their first loss of 2022 and their first loss at Bluebet Stadium for over 20 games. Very big game. What were your thoughts on this? We'll go to David first this time.
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant game. I was saying it earlier in the week, and a lot of people called me crazy for it, but I honestly felt an Eels upset. I did go with Penrith, but I really did feel an Eels upset, and they delivered. They've now beaten the two best teams in the competition. They're both sitting on one loss due to the Eels. Look, they are inconsistent, but I've said it. They are a dark horse for the premiership, in my opinion. But I thought it was a great game in general. Parramatta were definitely a lot better than last week. Last week they were shocking, absolutely shocking. But this week I thought their spine really stepped it up. 3 of their 4 spine members getting tries. Oh, sorry, Dylan Brown's not in their spine anymore. But they were, all 3 of them were brilliant. Gutherson, Marnie, and Brown. But it was overall a great win for the Eels. I thought. Yeah,
very true. It was a great win for the Eels. A few people expected the upset, and a few people, like me included, thought that Penrith would blow Parramatta out of the water. But big upset for that. What were your thoughts on it for us?
What an upset by the Parramatta Eels. They did it against Melbourne in Melbourne when no one expected it. They've done it against the Panthers in Penrith. I think that's the first time they've lost there since 2019. So that is a big achievement for the Eels, and they've definitely staked their claims for the premiership. And my word, I've said this before, Brad Arthur, you dumb piece of shit. Why the hell would you put Dylan Brown at centre? They look so much of a better side when Mitchell Moses and Brown were the halves playing together. And look, people talk about your Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes, or you've got someone like Cleary and Lawyer. On their day, I think Moses and Browns are just as lethal as they can be. And I think this game shows exactly why they got to stick with that team. Look, for me, I'll be brutally honest with you. I do not rate Jacob Arthur at all. And it's not about him being young. He's got quality, but he is generally a bad player, in my opinion. But look, Parramatta really turned it on. They really wanted it, didn't they? And even after the Panthers looked to be dominating, they hit back. And I do feel sorry for them, because if they did lose that, I felt would have been based off a bad call when Kika knocked that on and they scored after that. But the Eels just never gave up. And in the end, they got the chocolates. What a win by the Eels. They've definitely taken up their claims for the premiership, haven't they?
They definitely have. And it was quite a good game. Moving on to Davos, Panthers versus Eels. Great game, yeah?
Oh, fantastic game. I mean, like I expected the Panthers to blow the Eels away, but props to the Eels. I mean, how good was Dylan Brown? I mean, he ran for about 150 meters and had, I think, 28 tackles with no misses. What a player he's becoming. I think he's probably one of the best defensive halves in the comp. Props to Mitchell Moses as well. I think he won the battle against Cleary. I mean, two halves that are obviously magnificent players in their own right, but I feel like Moses really stood up when it mattered. But yeah, I was very surprised with the way Para responded, especially after the Cowboys loss. But congratulations to Parramatta against the Panthers, and got nothing else to really say, to be honest. But congratulations to Para.
Yeah, it was quite a famous win for them, especially after that long streak, as I mentioned earlier. Penrith, I think it was 21 straight wins at home. I could be wrong. And over to you, Lachlan. What were your thoughts on this game?
I'll keep it short and sweet. Three things. The streak's over. It's not impossible for Penrith to lose at home. And the referees' new names should be the three blind mice. The fact that they missed kick-outs knock-on is an absolute disgrace.
Very true, very true. And moving on to the next game, which was Seagulls versus Tigers. It was a bit of a gritty contest for most of it, in my opinion. But what were your thoughts? We'll go to Lachlan first this time.
Tigers are always in the fight, but I think Manly just showed their class, and Tommy Turbo around the back just showed what he's capable of. And during the week, Kieran Foran signed with Gold Coast, so you would expect Josh Schuster in that 6th jersey, which we didn't see because he's injured. But I think it was a good gritty win by Manly, and they got 2 points, which is the main thing.
Very true, very true. What about you, Faraz?
Tigers were always in it, but Manly just had too much class in the end. Congrats to Manly. They did what they did to get the 2 points.
They definitely did. And over to you, David. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought the Trbojevic brothers, all three of them were brilliant. Ben Trbojevic really stood out for me. He was brilliant. I thought it was a game of two halves. Manly were up 14-0 at the break, and the Tigers were able to turn on in the second, but it just wasn't enough. So, that's all I got to really say.
Very true, very true. And as it was, Faraz picked Ben Trbojevic as his anytime try scorer and was correct. But over to you, Davos. What were your thoughts on this game?
I thought the Seagulls really showed why they're one of the top teams in the comp. I thought Cherry Evans and the Trbojevic brothers were outstanding. And a little congratulations to Joe Offahengawi. I thought he played a really underrated game. But credit to the Tigers for sticking in the fight, but Manly were just too good.
Very true. They were too good. And now to the next game, which was Roosters versus Titans. Quite a high-scoring affair, but not for Titans. It wasn't a good game to watch for Titans fans, with the Roosters winning 44-16. I didn't really see this big of a win coming, but you boys might have. What were your thoughts on this? We'll go to David first this time.
Yeah, look, I really thought the Roosters turned it around after the last couple of weeks. They lost to the Dragons and Bulldogs, pretty sure. Cedesko really showed why he should be the front runner for the number 1 jersey for New South Wales. Overall, I thought it was a bit of a blowout match, unfortunately. But Cedesko was my standout player for me.
Very true. And some more news on that. Apparently, Cedesko might be one of the only choices for New South Wales fullback, with, I think, Pappenhausen injuring himself earlier today in the Storm versus Dragons game. But we'll go to Faraz. What were your thoughts on the Roosters versus Titans?
Yeah, I'll keep this short and simple, but Cedesko back in form, and this is why he's showing that why he should stay as the number 1 for the New South Wales Blues in Origin. And the Titans, probably the worst Queensland team right now. They were just shocking. They let in a few soft tries, and you can't have that at this stage of NRL. I don't know where to go for the Titans right now. But Roosters, congrats to them. They won big. Credit to them. They're back in form.
Very true. They are back in form. They might. I wouldn't say they're a premiership threat just yet, but they're getting there. What are your thoughts, Starboss?
One man, James Cedesko. I mean, he showed everyone why he's a top 2 half fullback. Titans, I'm not sure what's happening with them. I'm just trying a few combinations and it's just not working. But the two words that describe this game is just James Cedesko. He's a superstar.
Very true. He sure is. And yeah, he's definitely proving all the people wrong who said Pappenhausen should be New South Wales Blues fullback. We'll go over to Lachlan. Your thoughts on this match?
I thought it was a good win by the Roosters. First of all, I'll start saying I don't think Mackay gets another game. The crowd was an absolute disgrace. You couldn't hear him at all game. And second of all, I don't see where Titans go next. I get they've signed Kieran Foran, but their spine's an absolute disgrace. Their defense on the line is the worst in the comp, you would probably argue. And I think the Roosters just showed that they're not a team to rule out this year, and they've still got the stars there to get into the top 8.
It's definitely showing. It's definitely showing for the Titans that the inexperience they have is not helping them this year. I'm pretty sure their spine was made up of it's the most inexperienced spine in the NRL, or was when they started, with Brimson at 5'8". Now Will Smith has come into the 5'8" role. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Jaden Campbell, considering they've signed Kieran Foran for the 5'8" jersey next year. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with the Titans. But right now they're not looking in a good spot. But next game, the Cowboys versus Knights. This was a bit of a weird one because halftime it was 16-12. And full time being 36-16. What were your thoughts on this? We'll go to Lachlan first.
Yeah, as you said, half time, you were expecting Knights to be in the fight, and they faded away like usual. I understand they've got injuries, but they've also got 17 players out there that can still do a job. Cowboys didn't play their greatest in the first half, and Cowboys still won by 20. So I think Chad Townsend was unreal. He put the kicks on the dimes all night. He had the ball on the string, and I think Cowboys just showing why they're a team to watch this year.
I agree with that statement a lot. Cowboys, they're definitely looking on the up this year. What about you, David? Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, look, I thought once again a game of two halves. Newcastle were brilliant in the first half. I wouldn't say brilliant, but they were quite good. They took advantage of the Cowboys' weaknesses, especially in the first 40. They were up 16-12, as you touched on before. And then the Cowboys ran right in the second half, and that was basically the story of the game. I've never really counted Newcastle a chance, especially with their inexperienced halves pairings, Crossland and Hoy. But overall the Cowboys got a good win then.
Yeah, very true. The Cowboys, they've improved a lot this year, and we've seen that once they start scoring points, there isn't really a end to it. They just keep scoring. We saw that against the Eels last week, and we saw that this week against the Knights. But we'll go on to Faraz. What were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, halftime just promised to be a blockbuster, but the Knights just faded away. Cowboys, congratulations to them. They're continuing their red hot form. And for the Knights, what a disgrace. I feel for the fans. They've started the season 2-0. They gave so much hope and promise, and they've put on a shit house next 7 weeks. Like, there's a limit to everything. But look, congratulations to the Cowboys. I don't know where to go for the Knights. They're competing for the spin for me. Absolutely shocking.
A lot of passion there from Faraz, a lot of hate towards the Knights. But we'll head to Davos to finish off, Saturday's games. What were your thoughts on this match?
Look, I love the Knights, don't get me wrong, but they just give you so much hope and then they just fade away. But props to the Cowboys. I mean, I know it was against a low-ranked team like the Knights, but I believe that they're the real deal. I thought the Cowboys' two best players were Ruben Cotter and Reece Robson. I mean, what a season Ruben Cotter's having. He's a smoky for the Queensland Maroons team. But, congratulations to the Cowboys. And I'm just very disappointed in the Knights. I mean, they're a lot better than this, but they're just not showing this.
That is very true. The Knights finals for the last 2 years, and then of recent times, they haven't been as good as they can be, especially with Mitchell Pearce leaving. That was a big loss for them in leadership. Going on to the next game, the first game of today, Storm versus Dragons, a flogging from the Storm, which was honestly expected by a lot of people. Obviously, sad news. Apparently, Ryan Pappenhausen could be ruled out for quite a bit of time. But what were your thoughts on the match? We'll go to David first.
Yeah, look, I think it's the story of the season for Melbourne. They were just brilliant once again. Look, St. George had them in the first half. They were down 12-0 at the break. I'm pretty sure it was 12-0 at the break. But yeah, they ran right in the second 40. Munster was absolutely brilliant once again in my 3-2-1. I just thought that it's the story of the season for Melbourne. They're going to be dominant for probably until Bellamy retires or even longer. They've just been brilliant for so long. I think that's the way it's going to be for the rest of the season.
Very true. I think they're actually at the top of the ladder now with Penrith losing to the Eels earlier. But yeah, it was a great game from Melbourne. They put on a clinic. What were your thoughts on this for us?
Yeah, just like everyone else, I tipped the Storm to win, and they did it with convincing style. And look, I don't think Dragons fans can be too upset about that. It was always going to happen. Storm and Panthers are in the league of their own. I think Melbourne are playing unreal footy. They scored 344 points in 9 rounds. That's simply outstanding, especially at home. They're putting it up. And Munster just keeping his unreal form. If he gets that form back for Queensland, I reckon Queensland have a better chance than they did last year. But yeah, credit to the Storm. Dragons fans, don't be too disheartened. Next week will tell us a lot about where the side is really. But yeah, hats off to the Storm. As always, they're dominant, especially at home.
Very true, very true. We'll go to Davos next. What were your thoughts on this match?
I was very proud of my mighty Melbourne Storm. I thought that the spine really clicked until Pappenhausen got injured, but I thought Munster and Grant were brilliant, especially Grant out of dummy half, and can't wait for them to form a good combination when it comes to Origin. But yeah, look, I feel for the Dragons. I mean, they're a bit hot and cold, but you've got some good quality players like Ben Hunt. I thought the Bellin was pretty good today, and so was Womack. So don't be too disheartened, Dragons fans. But very happy with my team win.
Very true. It was a good win for the Melbourne Storm. All Melbourne fans can be happy with that. And what were your thoughts on this, Lachlan?
It's just Storm doing Storm things. It's what they've done. All year they've dominated teams, and Pappenhausen was out. I think he played 50 minutes, so they had 30 minutes without a fullback. And also earlier on in the game, they lost their centre and Remus Smith, which Wishart had to play in centre, and he was up against Moses Suli. So not an easy task either for the young fellow off the bench. But Storm I'm calling. I think they're premiers this year. They just look too good.
Very true. The Storm, yeah, they are looking quite good. Well, we'll move on to the final game of round 9, which just finished up, at least for us, a little over an hour ago. The Sharks versus the Warriors. Now, the Sharks 29-10 against the Warriors, and what a game it was from the Sharks. I mean, they had to play most of the game with only 12 players. But yeah, what were your thoughts on this? We'll go to Lachlan first.
Yeah, the Warriors they're a team you don't know. They're hot and cold. They're 50-50. You don't know if to tip them or not. The Sharks had 12 men for most of the game. They had 11 men for some of the game because Jesse Ramian got binned for a shoulder to the head, and the Warriors still couldn't score. You can't be winning games if you can't score against 11 men. The Sharks, they just showed that at Shark Park they're a bit too strong.
Very true. They had the home crowd behind them. What were your thoughts on this, David?
Yeah, look, I thought the Warriors were quite terrible, especially given the fact they didn't pounce on the opportunity of them having 12 men for most of the match, and they also did get a sin bin. Cronulla did, but they scored 19 unanswered points in the second 40. So I thought it was a great game from Nico Hines once again. He's also in my 3-2-1. Connor Tracy got a double. I thought he was quite good as well, and yeah, just a big win for Cronulla once again, getting back on track.
Very true, Cronulla. They are really showing themselves being quite possibly a premiership threat this year. We'll go to Faraz next. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, nice, gritty, tough win for the Sharks, especially with 11 men down. The Warriors look like they're coming for them, but yeah, what a win for the Sharks, especially losing one of their key players in William Kennedy. I thought that was going to set the tone for the rest of the game for the Warriors, but the Warriors, look, this is exactly why I don't have them in my. This game proves it for me, honestly. And other the Warriors were playing good up until that moment, until the second half. They just struggled to score points. SJ looked lost. I don't know what they were doing on the left-hand side. They just didn't look like they had any points in them. And look, the Warriors have to pull their heads in. If you can't score against 11 men, then you shouldn't be competing. You shouldn't be in the top 8. So worrying signs for the Warriors. They're in some trouble.
Very true. The Warriors, they did look a bit disorientated. Sorry. Well, we'll go to Davos for his final opinions on the Sharks versus Warriors match. What did you think of this game?
Look, credit to the Sharks. I mean, what a win. I mean, considering being 12, playing with 12 players and even 11 players for 10 minutes with the Jesse Ramey sim bin. But one man I really want to point out is what a player, Nico Hines. I mean, considering he was playing halfback and then he had to move to fullback, he was outstanding for the Sharks, to be honest. I think he's a real team leader and a very, very good chance to play Origin. Look, Warriors, I don't know. I can't really describe them, to be honest. I think they just look very lost and very inconsistent. But yeah, congratulations to the Sharks. I mean, you guys are flying at the minute.
Very true. Yeah, I mean Nico Hines. It was a bit of a toss-up between him and Ryan Papenhuyzen for the 14. Well, you would think for the 14 jersey for New South Wales, but with Papenhuyzen being injured, you'd have to think that Nico Hines gets that jersey by default now. But I will hand over the leadership to Lachlan to take us through a few more subjects.
Yeah, so we'll keep it short and sweet, but we will start with David. In your opinion, what do you think game of the round was?
Look, I think this is going to be quite a common one, but Penrith versus Parramatta, I thought, it was a great upset by Parramatta, especially playing a sold-out Bluebet Stadium. But, I thought overall it was a great game. Parramatta played very well.
Yeah, 100% agreed. That's mine as well. Para versus Penrith. It was a cracking game for a Friday night, and it's going to get even better at Magic Round with Storm versus Penrith on the Saturday night. We'll send it over to Davos now. What do you think was your game of the round?
Look, pretty easy choice to me. It has to be Penrith versus Parramatta. Look, two quality teams and two teams that will definitely be there in finals. And look, what an upset by the Parramatta Eels. I mean, no one expected them to win and they won. So props to them.
Yeah, 100% agreed. Faraz, what was your game of the round?
Yeah, no-brainer for me, mate. Panthers, it was the only one that was a real good, tight game. And look, credit to Parramatta for pulling up the upset. I don't think you can look past this game for game of the round.
Yeah. And Noah, what was yours?
Well, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet, like you said. Parramatta versus Penrith for exactly the same reasons everyone else has it. It was a close game, and Parramatta deserved that win.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And we'll also go over now. What do you think was your buy of the year so far? I know it can change by the end of the year, but so far, who do you think has been the best buy by a club? We'll start with Noah.
I've had these three tied probably since like round 5, and they're still tied for me. And that would have to be Chad Townsend, Adam Reynolds, and Jackson Hastings, all playing in a 7 jersey, and they're all taken the bottom 4 teams, Broncos, Tigers, and Cowboys. They've taken the last year's bottom 4 teams and made them infinitely better, in my opinion. Jackson Hastings, not so much for Tigers, but he still added so much leadership. It's not his fault they're losing games. But yeah, if I had to pick a certain one, I'd have to say Chad Townsend.
So if you're picking a team today, out of those 3, who are you picking, Townsend or Reynolds at the 7?
I think I'd pick Reynolds purely off kicking game, and leadership, and I reckon leadership. But I think buy of the season has to go to Chad Townsend just for how much better he's made the Cowboys.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And my player buy of the year so far is Chad Townsend as well. He's taken the Cowboys to another level this year, and his kicking game has just showed the experience. I will send it over to Davos. Who's been your buy of the year?
Look, all the names you mentioned, Noah, they're definitely up there for me. But for me, it's a bit of a different path. It was a toss-up between Nico Hines and Chad Townsend. But I'm picking Nico Hines. Look, I already knew he was a gun when he was at the Storm, but he's taken like a mediocrity club that were playing well last year, but not so well enough to make finals, to almost a genuine premiership threat. I mean, his combination with Matt Moylan's only going to get better. And look, congratulations to the Sharks on getting an outstanding player in Nico Hines.
Yep, 100% agreed. And Faraz, who's been your buy of the year, mate, so far?
Keep it short and simple. I think Chad Townsend, look at where the Cowboys were last year and look at where they are this year. Reynolds and Hines will be up there soon, but yeah, right now, Chad Townsend.
Yeah, I think he's been a common factor of buy of the year so far. And we'll send it over to David quickly. Who's been your buy of the year, mate?
Yeah, look, it was, as you guys said, out of Reynolds, Hines and Townsend, but I thought overall, from where the Broncos have gone from bottom 3 to top 8, pushing top 8 and, really scaring the top 4 teams, I'd say Adam Reynolds, 9 try assists, 3 tries and 5 line break assists in the first 8 games in a new club, playing in a new spine. It's unbelievable. The fact that he's put the Broncos basically single-handedly into the top 8. I want to say single-handedly, but he's definitely been a massive factor in that. And Adam Reynolds for me.
Yeah, and he showed it Thursday night, the class that he's got. And he sort of just rubbed it in the face of the Rabbitohs, what they've lost. But I guess he's a Brisbane boy now for the next 3 years, and we'll see where he can take this club. Rightio, we'll go over now. There's a question. We'll start with Noah. But seeing the ladder at the current moment, the Newcastle Knights are sitting at 16th. And they're struggling. They've struggled for a couple of weeks. Where to now for the Knights? Where do you think they're heading?
Well, I think where they went wrong, because they're heading for the wooden spoon. I think where it all went wrong for them is when Mitchell Pearce left the club, they lost a proper halfback and true leadership. They've got Ponga, sure. They've got Daniel Saifidi, I think, who is the co-captain. Well, it was until Ponga became captain. But even Jaden Brayley, he's out injured, so they've lost leadership from him. And Ponga, I don't think Ponga is a leader. I don't think he can lead by example, I guess, but we haven't seen too much from him. But yeah, I think the Knights, they have a lot to work on, and some people say putting Ponga in the 6 jersey could work. I don't see. I think they need someone to sign someone who has enough leadership to actually start talking to them and helping them go higher up the ladder. Just based off leadership, I think it's leadership's the problem they need to work on.
100% agree. We've seen the Knights fight from this place before. If you go back years, they were down in the dumps as well, and they've built their way back. I think this year it's going to be a tough one, but every team goes through that. As we've seen with the Broncos, Cowboys, so forth, that they've come back from that. But we'll hand it over to Davos. Where to for the Knights, do you reckon?
I don't know, man, to be brutally honest. I mean, yeah, like Noah said it, like when Mitchell Pearce left, it left a big hole in leadership and actual like game managing halfback. Clune and Clifford looked good for 2 rounds, and then Clifford's been shocking lately, and Clune's just had no help. Look, the Knights are a team. They're like the Titans. They have a very good forward pack, but shocking halves. So I don't know. It might get to the point where you may need to tap Callum Ponga on the shoulder and say, "Look, mate, you're a gun fullback, but you might need to move to 6 just to get his hands on the ball more." Just stuff like that, man. I love the Knights, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they've definitely got some headaches and some work to figure out. We'll send it over to David now. Where do you reckon the Knights go from here?
Yeah, look, they look like they're in some of their worst form since their wooden spoon era, 14-16, I'm pretty sure it was. The loss of Mitchell Pearce, as you guys touched on before, is absolutely vital in the Knights' downfall. I think if they did sign a experienced half, as you guys did say, Foran, who just went to the Titans, I thought would have been a good pickup for Newcastle. But unfortunately, there's just a lack of leadership in the team. They haven't been able to give Kalen Ponga the ball that he needs. And I had them 13th at the start of this season in my prediction. I actually got them even lower than that now. I think they'll be in the bottom 3. So,
Big call, bottom 3. I can see it happening. I know Faraz has a few words on the Knights here, so we'll send it over to him to where he reckons that where they're gonna finish.
Look, Newcastle, they are heading for the spoon right now, and I think that ball game is crucial. But for Knights fans, look, I think when I can start really going hard at the Knights is after the next few weeks, because they've got some winnable games coming up. They've got the Bulldogs next week. That's a pretty winnable game. Bulldogs, they have a good record up there in Brisbane. They've got the Broncos, who are still capable of going on a bad run. So we don't know too much. But so all I have to say for the Knights is that, the draw's not against you. You've got some winnable games there. But, look, based on what I've seen so far, they've lost a lot of leadership and guidance after pieces left. Clune and Clifford, they looked the goods after the first rounds, but now they've looked lost. Yeah, and their forward pack hasn't been offering much. I know they've got some injuries here and there, but look, it's been nothing short of embarrassing. And look, you could argue that they've been playing some top tier sides, but if you're going to contend for the 8, you got to be at your best, especially when playing the best as well. So look, I've got nothing much to say for the Knights. Yeah, but things are looking really bad up at Newcastle. And I think the Ponga talk about him going to 6, I think it's just desperate move at this stage. It wouldn't hurt to try, but I've got really nothing else to say for the Knights. I think that Dogs game could tell us if they are worthy of the spoon, because right now I do see them going into that park. But the Knights have been shocking, disgraceful to say the least, but it's giving me 2016 vibes.
Yeah, well, I'll be tipping the Knights next week because they get a handful of players back from injury. But I don't know what the answer is for the Knights either. It feels like they're just struggling for everything. Even that they're playing, but they scored their first try yesterday since 182 minutes. They're just in shambles. But I think they will fight their way out a little bit. I think the highest they'll finish is 13th.
Yep. Is it right for them though to say that they can use injuries as excuse?
No, I don't believe it. I stand big on injuries. If you have 20 players out in the 30-man squad, you have injuries. But other than that, you're still fielding 17 players a week on the field. There's no reason to get pumped 70-10. There's no reason to make these big losses. These kids live for these opportunities. They should be lifting when they get a debut. There's no reason that these teams can use injuries as a reason of getting flogged. I don't buy into it. I think it's bullcrap basically when people say they have injuries. And we'll send it over now to something that has happened in the latest game today, Sharks v Warriors. Fair or unfair, the Kennedy send-off. We'll start with Davos.
Look, I see both sides to the story, but in my personal opinion, I believe it was unfair. Look, I understand. Look, you got him around the neck, but you also got to take into account that Reece Walsh is not the biggest guy on the field. He's small, so you're obviously players are going to get each other's necks. So it's I see where the ref is coming from, but again, it's people have done worse and have stayed on the field. I can't remember who did the tackle last week. Oh, Jack Whiten. How come Jack Whiten does that tackle and gets to stay on the field? So I believe that it was very unfair, but it didn't really cost the Sharks a game because they convincingly beat the Warriors, but I believe it was very unfair.
Yeah. No, fair or unfair on the William Kennedy send-off today for the high tackle?
I'll keep the answer and reasoning very short and sweet. I think the tackle itself got fair punishment. It's a bit of a weird one. Fair punishment. I reckon a send-in would have been better, but it's still, at least that's consistent with what they've been going with. It's a send-off. It should be maybe a sin bin at least, but yeah, I'll agree with the referees on this one.
Well, being a send-off, we can confirm that he will be missing Magic Round next week. He will not be there for the Sharks. And Faraz, fair or unfair for the Kennedy send-off today against the Warriors?
Unfair. Look, I know it looked really bad on the replays, but you got to understand that he wasn't really going for the swing up, and he is making the tackle at the end of the day. It got the right punishment, like Noah said, but Yeah, I think that was too harsh for him to send him off completely. I've seen worse things on a footy field, and like Davis touched up, it was Jack Whiten who did that and stayed on the field, but Carl Lawson did the exact same thing, and he got sent off. So it's a bit of inconsistency from the NRL refs as well. Yeah.
Yeah. David, what do you reckon about the call? Fair or unfair?
Yeah, look, I understand both sides of both opinions, but I'm going to go with fair here. However, it does show the inconsistency of the referees and the decision making. I thought maybe a sin bin would have been sufficient. You look at a couple of weeks ago, Tupou didn't even get sin bin, let alone sent off for quite a similar tackle around the neck, clothesline. But yeah, I do think the punishment's fair, but a sin bin would have been sufficient.
I definitely agree with David there. Sorry for cutting you off, Lachlan. But yeah,
Right.
I agree with the David's actually just brought that back to my mind. Tupou did the exact same tackle and he wasn't even sent to the bin for it. He was put on report and stayed on the field. The reffing inconsistency has been absolute bullcrap the past just this season and last season as well. But I think they need to find something consistent. I don't think the bunker's effective. The bunker slows down everything to frame by frame. And I think that's just not how footy should be played.
Yeah, and just to add on the bunker thing, I'm sort of getting annoyed about how they've used this bunker, how they're giving tries on the field, but it seems like every try this round was sent upstairs anyway for review. If you're going to do that, just keep the bunker the same as it was. And I also believe that referees, there should be another ref added to the field, because you remember a couple of years ago they subtracted the one. I think they should add the one back, because that gets the crush tackles, it gets the other things as well. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but I just believe that other ref should be added. And heading into the end of this episode, we will go to our top 3 best players of the round. I'll get mine out the way. I've got the 3 votes with James Cedesko with a hat trick and 226 running meters against the Titans, but you still got to bag 3. My 2 votes go to Harry Grant from today, 168 run meters, 4 line break assists, 2 try assists, and 37 tackles. And my 1 vote goes to Adam Reynolds on Thursday night. He bagged a try, 543 kicking meters, 3 tackle breaks, 2 try assists. He just carved the Rabbitohs up and showed them that they shouldn't have let him go. And we'll send it over to Davos now for his 3 best players of the round.
Look, I would have to agree with you on most of them. I don't really blame you for putting Harry Grant there. He was outstanding today. But my 3-2-1 votes, for my 3 votes, we've got James Cedesko. 3 tries. Showing everyone that he's still a class above most fullbacks, and showing that he is the number 1 option for the fullback position for the New South Wales Blues. My 2 votes go to Nico Hines. Look, this is a bit of a debatable one, but I just thought, considering that the Sharks were to 12 men and then to 11 men at one stage, his leadership and experience, to selflessly go back to the fullback position, and he still even made an impact there. He was outstanding for the Sharks. He deserved my two votes. Props to Nico Hines. And my 1 vote goes to Adam Reynolds. Look, against his old side, he was outstanding. He controlled the Broncos, had, I think, 2 try assists and a try against his old club. He really led the Broncos, and they had some direction, which they lacked in previous years. So credit to Adam Reynolds. He was outstanding, but all those boys were brilliant.
Yeah. And we'll send it over to Noah now for his top 3 players of the round.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get it right out there. James Cedesko, I had him as the best player of the round. Obviously, as you said, Lachlan, a hat trick and a bunch of run meters. I'm pretty sure a bunch of tackle breaks as well. He carried my fantasy team this week. Then for 2 points, I would have Adam Reynolds, led the Broncos to an amazing win, probably their win of the season against South Sydney. Brilliant from Adam Reynolds against his old club. A lot of stats there, 5 from 5 conversions, which is great. That we haven't seen him kick like that for most of the year. And just everything he did, all his kicks were in perfect place, and he made South's nervous with his kicking game. And I feel like that's what Souths have been missing. And for my one, I've actually gone Dylan Brown just because I think he was a big factor in Parramatta's win against Penrith. Yeah, I mean, you don't go breaking 21 straight without Dylan Brown. I don't think with that win Parramatta recorded against Penrith. But yeah, special from Dylan Brown.
Yeah, Dylan Brown, definitely. And I think you'll see him back in the 6 jersey very soon. We'll send it over to David for his top 3 players of the round.
Yeah, look, it was really tough to pick. My player of the round with 3 points was Cameron Munster. 1 try, 2 try assists. I just thought he was brilliant, especially in the second 40 to, annihilate the Dragons. I thought he was brilliant. My number 2, it was controversial for this one. I had Nico Hines. I thought, once again, a big factor in Cronulla's 19-point win. 13 points, 1 try assist, 2 try assists, 1 try. And my 1 was Adam Reynolds. I thought he was brilliant against South Sydney. He was probably the pivotal, factor in the Broncos' big defeat over South Sydney. 16 points, 1 try, 2 try assists once again. I thought he was brilliant. So, yeah, that wraps it up for me.
Yep, and we'll send it over finally for Faraz for his top 3 players of the round.
Yeah, look, most of you had Adam Reynolds in there, but I'm going to go Adam Reynolds at 3 just because of the toughest opposition he had compared to the other 2 I've had, especially with no Reynolds and Haas. So he had a tougher job than what most people thought. So, especially with 543 kick meters, a try of himself, 2 line break assists, and he had 2 try assists. So, great all-round performance for Adam Reynolds, guiding the team to a famous win at Sydney on Thursday night. And to 2 points, I'm going to go James Cedesko, simply back at his best. 201 plus meters, 3 tries, and 2 line breaks. Simply outstanding for the man. And 1 point, this is a bit of a smoky. I don't think most people are going to see this, but I'm going to go Ben Trebojevic. I really like what he did on the day. 2 tries of himself, 2 line breaks, 2 tackle breaks. And I think from his 10 carries, he got 78 run meters. So I think he had a real good game. I don't think you're going to notice it because they've got so many stand-up players, but I think Ben turned it on big time. He took the spotlight away from the Turbo brothers.
100%. And that wraps us out here of episode 2 of the Final Siren podcast. Thanks for tuning in once again of the review of round 9, the preview of round 10, which is Magic Round, coming up on Thursday morning. Make sure to sub to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and the following. The content just keeps coming from us, and make sure you stick around because it's only going to get better. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.